Hi, I'm Callista Redmond from RISC-V, and I'm here talking with Jeremy from Embecosm. Jeremy, thank you so much for your time today.
You're welcome.
Tell us a little bit about Embecosm and how it fits into RISC-V.
So Embecosm is an open source software company. We specialize in the lowest level of system software, compilers and operating systems, operating system kernels, operating system drivers. We particularly specialize mostly in the deeply embedded space and mostly in pre-silicon development, so that your tool chain is ready, your operating system is ready before the silicon comes back from the fab. And that gives you the advantage, of course, you're exercising your design before you've even turned it into silicon.
Wow, so you're right at the intersection of where software meets hardware.
Absolutely, yes. And it's an exciting field to work in because you get to play in both places.
Fantastic. And tell me about what you're doing in RISC-V in particular. How do you see RISC-V changing or influencing or guiding where you're going?
So RISC-V is important because it's a new processor and there's relatively few new processors, so that's the first start. Secondly, it's open source. The design ISA is open source, and that really matters because it brings a new community into the philosophy of open source development, community development, and the fact that in commercial development you can still be very commercial without having to always fight each other. You can work together towards a common goal.
So is it disrupting the business model, or is it just making it better? It sounds almost like it's on its head, but that's okay.
It's widening the market because it's bringing a whole new community. Hardware designers on the whole haven't been terribly familiar with open source. It's that strange thing their software colleagues do. Now hardware designers are appreciating this collaborative open source approach is good, and that's good for us because when they come to talk to the system software guys, then they sort of got a feel for the idea that actually you can have this stuff open and that's a good thing and it still makes good business.
You're like the translator between the software and the hardware, the people and the technology.
Absolutely, yeah. It's an analogy that's really good. Yeah, we translate your programs to run on the hardware. We're also a communication with the people who are developing that hardware. And to some extent, it is quite evangelical as a way of approaching business.
Jeremy, where do you see most of the interest for RISC-V coming from? Is it from some of the established players, those looking at greenfield? Who are the folks that are coming to you looking for RISC-V?
I think that's evolving. It started out as a way of rattling arm's cage. I think now it has established itself as a processor in its own right. And people are coming, sometimes big players who want to look for an alternative processor, who think it might be better, who like the extensibility of the instruction set. That's a big selling point. And of course, for new players, the barriers to entry are knocked down because of the ease of picking up a free ISA. They can go a long way in their development before having to commit. And that's very positive for small players. So you can get small players, and IoT in particular, the small players, the disruptive players, that's a place where I think RISC-V is really attractive.
So the business barriers and the technical barriers are coming down, and that's benefit for all.
It's benefit for all, and funnily enough, it's even beneficial for ARM, because historians will look back and say the best thing that happened to ARM was RISC-V because it put them back on their toes, and the whole technology. When the sea rises, all the boats go up, and I think it's positive. It's positive in a much wider way than people realise sometimes.
Well, we're so excited to have your leadership in RISC-V, and really appreciate your support in anything we can do to continue your onward success as well.
Well, that's much appreciated. Glad to be part of it.
Thank you.